I don't play too many games. The ones I do play are often more competitive, games you only play against friends or other people. But recently I've been trying to read things, view things, play things that I normally wouldn't. I love discovering new kinds of things, new kinds of art, new kinds of passion that I couldn't have imagined. Last year I decided to actually play through Baldur's Gate 3, and the time I had with it was big. It was a lot happened. Maybe I'll probably make a video on that one sometime in the future. But a month or two ago, I saw a few video essayists that I follow almost simultaneously. They all made some videos on a game called Expedition 33. I was curious and decided to watch through the prologue of the game to see what I could see. And almost immediately, I stopped. Within 5 minutes, I knew I had to play this game. I didn't want to know anything else. I needed to experience this, no matter how different it was than anything I normally went through. And now I'm telling you the same thing. If you've ever trusted anything I have ever said, stop this video right now, go play the game. This video will still be here when you are done. But for those of you who don't care and have I don't know, you're just watching video essays, or for those who have played the game, welcome, sit back, pull up a canvas, my fellow painter, grab thy chromatics and gradient colors, and let's talk a while about not the game as a whole, but just one singular character who dwells within its world. Let us talk about the wonderful and charming Gustave, and how his character journey builds the perfect tragedy. Gustave is many things. Awkward, kind of goofy, a silly man, but he is also a character with boundless heart and care. He feels things strongly, has a real sense of right and wrong. He gets wrathful on behalf of those who are hurt, and when the thought of potentially leaving others behind is posed to him, he rejects the idea outright. But he is also saturated with a feeling of constant unresolvement. We first encounter Gustave at the very start of the game. In the surreal city of Lumiere, he sits tossing stones at a distant monolith. He has a flower he's to give to an ex-girlfriend. That's an odd thing to do, isn't it? Giving such things to a previous partner. But it also makes it apparent that neither she, Sophie, nor he, Gustave, hold any kind of ill will towards each other whatsoever. They are polite and continue to talk about something called the Gumage, an event the entire city of Lumiere seems to be celebrating. There are flowers in the streets, and a festival covers the plazas and walkways of this avant-garde city. The atmosphere is astonishing, and there's a real sense of humanity which saturates this world and the streets therein. The little conversations filling the plazas with the hum of people and the buzzing of instrument and song. I love it. I loved every moment of it. I'm not a shipper. I'm not that kind of guy. But even I was praying, wondering, why the hell don't you guys get back together? I mean, come on, why not? Then the Gumage actually happens. I don't know what it was. You get hints, but nothing concrete. Remember the monolith emblazoned with numbers across the sea? The thing that Gustave was hurling stones at. Each year, the giant paintress who sits and weeps at its base awakens and lowers the number upon it by 1. On that same day, the maximum age of humanity is reduced as the paintress wakes. Sophie is a year older than Gustave. The time of her oblivion has arrived. All across Lumiere, as the paintress lowers the number, human beings disintegrate into flowers and ash. An elegant, violent, cruel cremation. Children lose parents. Paramours lose their partners, siblings, friends, family. Humanity is trimmed a bit more. A rose bush. Sophie falls apart in flower dust in Gustave's arms. Their relationship will never have a resolution. Gustave has 1 year left to live. At some point before the start of the game, he decided, among others, to dedicate his life to an expedition, those who travel across the sea, to dedicate the final year of their lives, to attempt to kill the paintress and end the Gumage for good. I can scarcely imagine the existentialism of living in a world like that. What do you prepare for? How do you go about your life knowing that oblivion inches closer? Each year, more children grow up without parents. Each year, less people have children. Just picture it. Picture it when the number counts down another 10 years. Imagine a world where the oldest you could possibly be is 23. Imagine it counting lower still. another 10 years. 13's years old. The 13-year-olds will be the elders of that society, or even lower to 3. That is a kind of terror I can scarcely imagine. Eventually, the Gumage wouldn't be what finishes off humanity. It would just be getting too young. That's why the expeditions hurl themselves into hell and death for those who come after, because tomorrow, my friend, tomorrow comes. There have been over 60 expeditions before this one. Not a single one has been successful. Less and less people have joined each one. What else is humanity supposed to do? What else is anyone supposed to do? It is either this or wait until there are none left who can even speak, none left who can care for each other, none left who even understand the world, who can read, who can communicate. The final generations of humanity will be infants and children, starving and crying as those who were meant to care for them vanish, knowing that they too will disappear and that not even a single trace will remain. Gustave and his sister adopted one of these children whose parents vanished. Her name is Myel. She is awesome. She helps Gustave when he needs it, offers advice and amusement, and understands this man who is in so many ways massively awkward. She is the one who pushes him to talk to Sophie one last time, because if you're going to give flowers to someone, it's best to do it before they wither and die. But Myel is also one who joins Gustave's expedition despite being about half his age. She wants to run out into the world and see what she can see. For him, who has felt grief and loss, I imagine there's a kind of terror in that. And yet he cannot stop her. His adopted daughter or sister or friend joins the dozens of other dreamers who dedicate the last year of their lives to tomorrow. There's a nocturne farewell party for this expedition. Gustave speaks to people, friends, comrades, associates, goofy rivals. There's a fervorish, intoxicated excitement in the air. It is nervous, muddied with drink, fear, and sorrow of those who have been lost. But there is also determination and optimism. And so, when tomorrow comes, the expedition sets out to create a better world. Farewell, Lumiere. Farewell, death. Farewell, family and friend. Out there beyond the sea, the death we see is not the elegant flowered cremation of the Gumage, but something perhaps more cruel. As the first of the expedition set foot into this new world, a man walks, cane clicking in hand, to greet them on shadowed shores. The man is old, with withered skin and white hair and eyes that have seen through rock and sea and time. An impossibility, an old man. He slaughters the expedition alongside monsters and nightmares. Gustave's friends, companions, comrades vanish in the echoing hell of that night, and he stumbles into a graveyard filled with the calcified, petrified remains of hundreds of expeditioners. From what he sees, all have vanished. The last of his friends, the last of his family. His purpose for going on is naught but flower dust and stone, and in that moment, Gustave prepares to end his own life. I think this is indicative of Gustave's character. He believes in the expedition's values, of course, but more than that, more than in the oaths and words, he believes in the flesh and blood and the people around him. I think that while Gustave becomes an expeditioner for the future of Lumiere, he does it more for those he loves, not for humanity, but for humans. For Myel, for Sophie, for his sister and apprentices, so that they can continue to live, so that they can have the ability to grow old. In this moment, surrounded by the numberless dead, he believes he is now alone. He has no more purpose, and thusly prepares his end. And yet, in that moment, Lune, one of the other survivors, finds him. "You do that, we both die," she says. Gustave gets up, because when one falls, you continue. Lune and Gustave keep going, climbing through an alien world that more than anything wants them dead. Each creature and entity they encounter, each Nevron, as they are called, is more hostile, violent, and strange than the last. They climb through an emerald forest of jade nightmares and find not a thing, save for a rumor, a message from an unknown that Myel is alive. Gustave wants to get his daughter, sister, friend more than anything, but Lune tempers him. Gustave wants to take Myel and return home, and Lune argues caution. It's not that Gustave is inherently impulsive, but instead that his empathy, his heart, and care is overwhelming in this moment because Myel is alive, and he would sacrifice anything for her, whether she be daughter, sister, or friend. Lune disagrees with his rashness, but does go with him. I think she probably knew he would go anyway, with or without her. Best to stick together, whatever comes. And when brother and adopted sister reunite, it hits really, really well. Gustave gets his shit together, and they continue. They meet Ciel, another expeditioner who survived and who's just a goddamn beam of sunshine. They meet the Gestrels, who are these goofy kind of puppet French guys. They meet the ever grumpy Francois, who has something called the strongest ice attack ever, and they meet the infinitely whimsical Esquier, and it's just intoxicating. This world, the jade forest, the flying waters, the beings built from coral, and the ruby forests with their bone-white trees. It's all charming, and it's like I could get drunk on it, on the music and creatures and the world. There's this scene where Lune plays her guitar and Gustave approaches her, and they just talk. Joyous and happy at the sheer fact that Gestrels, a myth in the city of Lumiere, are real creatures here, beings out of a fairy tale. They laugh and smile, and it's good. Lune remarks that Gustave seems to be doing better, and he replies that he is. Shock has worn off and been replaced by determination. For all those who died, for their memory and lives, we go forward to annihilate the paintress and build a better world. With Gustave around, I genuinely have no doubt that things are going to be all right. Why? Because he wouldn't let them turn out any other way. He wouldn't let Myel die, or Lune, or Ciel, and the game actually nearly made me forget about its opening thesis and tragedy because I was having too much fucking fun to see it. Who cares if Myel has a nightmare or two? By the time we fight the white-haired man again, I'll be overleveled as fuck. There's no way I'll lose. They encountered the awesome spirit god Esquier, who is basically if the incarnation of whimsy took on a physical form and was also French. And with this being on our side, there is no doubt the expedition will be able to cross the second ocean in order to reach the paintress. She doesn't seem so far now, does she? And then, tragedy. Once again, the white-haired man appears. Gustave and Myel are trapped alone with him. Myel is caught behind a gradient wall of some kind. Gustave won't run, he won't leave her. Why is the white-haired man doing this? How did he survive the Gumage? Why is he slaughtering people in their thousands in order to keep them from reaching the paintress? Gustave begs this seeming immortal for answers. There must be some reason why? Why did Sophie have to die? Why did all the others have to be slaughtered? Why are you now trying to kill my adopted sister? The man does not answer these questions. Gustave holds his own as best he can, using flintlock and blade and lightning. His last words are for those who come after. Each of Expedition 33's 3 acts mark a complete paradigm shift of how the plot operates. The end of Act 1 is marked with the death of Gustave, the character through which we have viewed and grown to love this world. It is a strikingly bold, creative decision, one which accentuates the loss and misery, an endless tide of grief and tragedy which drowns this world and chokes the hope and joy from it. Gustave doesn't come back after this. For a long time, I thought he would. I thought there would be some way to reverse what had been done, undo death itself, but there isn't. Not really, anyway. His absence is felt for the rest of the story. In every moment I miss him. There's this scene where Lune is playing her guitar and Gustave and her talk excitedly about gestrels. She smiles a lot in this scene. After his death, she doesn't really smile like that again throughout the entire rest of the game. CL picks up the emotional void left by him and becomes the kind of comforting older sister that the group needs, and Myel promises revenge, destruction, death to the paintress and the white-haired man. But there is another character who shows up, who, after Gustave dies, saves Myel, a man with midnight hair strung through with lines of white. His name is Verso. Why couldn't he have jumped in sooner? Couldn't he have saved Gustave also? What is his relationship to the white-haired man, and why does he know so much about the world and the paintress herself? The answers are strange and alien. The mystery grows deeper. But this video isn't about Verso or Myel. It's about Gustave and the void he leaves behind. Most times when characters die in stories, it's near the end, when their arcs are wrapped up and complete. But Gustave is murdered in the first act, before he really understands anything at all. He doesn't avenge Sophie, he doesn't carve a path for his apprentices. All he does is ensure that those who come after have a bit more to build on than the last. I think there's something about that. Like us all of us exist without knowing for certain the absolute reasons why, or even if there are reasons, we can make educated guesses or have faith, but not certainty. All of us, we all, will likely die without knowing the truth behind why anything exists at all. I don't even know if any person gets a true proper climax and ending to their life. In many ways, death is just an interruption of life, not a climax of it. The game grows darker without Gustave. Act 2 and Act 3 build into one of my favorite tragedies in recent memory. What makes them more tragic is that I don't think things would have turned out the same if Gustave had lived. Had he lived, perhaps they would have found out more in regards to the paintress before it was too late. Perhaps the ever-shadowed Verso might have been convinced to speak just a bit more, to explain things just a bit more clearly. But if not, changes to the ending of Act 2, if none of that had changed, then I have no doubt that Act 3 would have completely shifted. Perhaps Verso or Myel, perhaps their decisions would have been just different enough to change the course of their choices and stave off the infinite expanse of misery that was to come. But that's not what happened. Gustave died, and everything that came after happened. Myel lives trying to fill the void her brother left with hate and desperation and a frenzied kind of hope. Lune doubles down into their mission so that one day they might become free. CL, I think, deals with his deaths the best, but that is because her own life is so stricken with grief. Her love of sunlight and open sky are because of the misery she has experienced. And Verso, the one whose words sound like piano keys and dull ashes, takes Gustave's place. But he is not Gustave. Gustave was awkward and passionate and a bit silly. He was kind of dumb at times. He laughed and hoped and dreamed of a future where children needn't fear their parents cremating into flowers and then starving. But now, that fantasy is over. And we all need to wake up. And that is why it is such a perfect damn tragedy. I really wanted to believe that we could get that happy ending. I love tragedies like that. Emotion sweet and real and imbued with the passion and soul of those who made it. Gustave isn't a real person, obviously. He's a character. A digital painting given the facsimile of life by the ones who wrote and voiced and animated him to action. That's the power of art and stories and things that matter. There's nothing else like it in this world, and I will love it until I myself am flower dust. But in the end, that's all I have to say about Gustave for now. But if you think I'm done talking about Expedition 33 or that Gustave is my favorite character, you would be dead wrong. We have so many exciting things ahead of us, my friend, and I hope you will join me for them. Analysis and hope and despair and grief and everything else besides. So until then, I'll see you when I see you. Hey people, I'm back. Sorry for the long break. Like and subscribe, do the thing. You know it, do the thing. Hope you liked the video. Hope you're doing okay. I'll see you in the next one. Yeah. See you.